Recession and stock market drop in 2024. Layoffs continue to impact workers, and housing sales plummet. Hi, it's Edward, back with another video. Please take a moment to click the thumbs up button below and consider subscribing to the channel. Please also share this video with your friends. Thank you for your support. Today, I read several financial news articles. I've included links to the articles in the description below. I encourage you to read the articles to support the authors and news sources. As a private American citizen, I'd like to report and share my transformative thoughts through commentary regarding small sections of these articles that are of public interest. Today, I read an article on Yahoo Finance put out by Business Insider and written by Theron Mohammed titled, "Top Economist Steve Hanke Says Stocks Will Drop, a Recession Will Hit, and Inflation Will Sink Below 2% This Year." According to the author, expect the stock market to retreat, a recession to strike, and inflation to drop below 2% by the end of this year, Steve Hanke says. Well, my friends, this is contrary to the soft landing narrative that we have been hearing about from government officials and the mainstream media. You might ask, who is Steve Hanke? He is a professor of applied economics at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, Maryland. Keep in mind that he has made prior predictions that have not come to fruition. Some of the people in the comment section beneath this article echo my point. For example, one commenter said, "If I had listened to this guy's advice last August, I would have missed out on all the big stock price gains in November." Another commenter said, "He literally has been saying this for 3 straight years." Now, there was one commenter who seems to support Steve Hanke. One commenter said, "Steve Hanke is usually right because he follows the money supply. I think it is wise to listen to him." That's what the commenter said, not what I'm saying, just to be clear. I'm always a bit skeptical about some of these economists in the news. So here are my thoughts. The stock market could retreat, but on the flip side of the coin, Wall Street is so disconnected from Main Street in America, it may not drop. There is a lot of hype about artificial intelligence, and that may not slow down anytime soon. For example, Nvidia stock was up more than 2% today. It is up around 18% in 2024 and was up approximately 179% over the last 12 months. Look at how high Microsoft has risen due to all of the optimism surrounding AI. Some of these stocks on Wall Street could continue to melt up regardless of what is happening on Main Street. With regard to Steve Hanke's prediction about a recession hitting, I personally don't think many everyday Americans are ready for a recession, especially if it turns out to be an ugly one. Far too many people have grown comfortable being able to job hop in recent years and earn decent wages during a time when companies had a hard time recruiting employees. Some young people have never lived during an era when jobs were hard to come by. In recent years, far too many people went out and bought homes, furniture, cars, boats, motorcycles, and various other toys with financing. Some of these people who are levered up live paycheck to paycheck and depend on 2 incomes in the household to cover all of the bills. If one of the breadwinners gets laid off, the house of cards could blow over. Let me ask you, how many people do you know who are barely hanging on with their $1,000 car payments, huge mortgage payments, and mountains of credit card debt? Life is expensive even when 2 breadwinners are bringing in money each month. But life may prove to be impossible when one of them gets laid off and has few prospects for a new job. Could this happen to a lot of everyday Americans if we enter an ugly recession? In my opinion, it is a real possibility. Just in the past week, I have been reading about a lot of layoffs. I reported about some of them here on the channel previously. Today, I read that Macy's is laying off workers and closing 5 stores. In fact, they are laying off about 3.5% of their workforce, which equates to 2,350 employees. Some of these people may be fortunate enough to live in an area where jobs are plentiful and they may be able to secure new employment quickly. I really hope that is the case for many of these folks. To lose your job in the dead of winter is not a good thing from my perspective. Think about the implications that these store closings may have on the surrounding businesses. Macy's is a big store that attracts a lot of shoppers. Once a store closes, the smaller businesses in the surrounding area may not get as much traffic, which could result in them closing as well. When stores close and get boarded up, that is never a good thing for the community. I personally know of a mall that was devastated after Macy's closed several years ago. Macy's was the anchor store for that mall. Shortly after it closed, many of the other stores closed as well. That mall is a shadow of its former self. In the old Macy's building, there is a store that sells pallets of what look like Amazon returns. The marble tile and carpet from Macy's is completely trashed. The inside of that building looks more like a flea market now compared to a shiny and welcoming Macy's store with nice music playing and well-organized store racks and shelves. It's sad to see that decline. Macy's wasn't the only company in the news today announcing layoffs. I also read about Wayfair cutting about 1,650 jobs, which equates to 13% of its global workforce. This is not the first time Wayfair has cut jobs. They laid off about 1,750 jobs in January 2023 and 870 jobs in August of 2022. My heart goes out to all of these people who are losing their jobs. I hope they have a well-funded emergency account to weather the storm until they can find another job. If we do enter an ugly recession, people will likely spend less money shopping. We could potentially see more layoffs in the retail space, and some of these jobs may be hard to find moving forward. I really think this could be the case, especially if these companies decide to operate with skeleton crews to keep costs down. It's not just retailers who are tightening their belts. I read an article today on Yahoo Finance, put out by Fortune, and written by Dylan Sloan, titled, "America's 4 Largest Car Makers All Pass on the Super Bowl for the First Time in 23 Years, and the Race to Catch Elon Musk Could Be to Blame." According to the author, for the first time in 23 years, none of America's 4 largest automakers will air national Super Bowl ads, but foreign-owned companies like Kia and Volkswagen are picking up their slack. The challenging U.S. automotive market is a leading reason why. Slowing consumer demand and high interest rates are pressuring Ford, Toyota, GM, and Chrysler parent company Stellantis into cutting back on their ad spend. Well, my friends, I am confused. I thought the economy was booming and Americans all want to buy EVs that Ford, GM, and Stellantis are manufacturing. I hope you can sense my sarcasm here. Most automakers have jumped on the EV bandwagon and believe it is the future. Maybe it is the future, but I personally think they are getting a bit ahead of themselves. If sales of EVs were so great, these automakers would be flush with cash and be in a position to throw money at expensive Super Bowl ads. The fact of the matter is, EV sales are not as great as these automakers had hoped. For example, there was a story out today on Reuters.com written by David Shepardson and Nathan Gomes titled, "Ford Cuts F-150 Lightning Production as EV Demand Softens." According to the authors, Ford Motor said on Friday it would reduce production of its F-150 Lightning pickup truck as demand for electric vehicles has been lower than expected. The number 2 U.S. automaker said it would cut production at its Michigan Rouge Electric Vehicle Center to 1 shift starting April 1st. The Ford CEO, Jim Farley, said we are taking advantage of our manufacturing flexibility to offer customers choices while balancing our growth and profitability. In my opinion, I hope he is serious about offering consumers choices. Ford does not manufacture any cars other than the Mustang. They are missing out on a big opportunity here, in my opinion. They could create a car that barely complies with all of the safety regulations, that is as bare bones as possible, and then over-engineer the engine, transmission, suspension, braking system, and accessories so they rarely wear out. Run the unibody through the galvanizing process multiple times so it never rusts out. Give this car a small, fuel-efficient 4-cylinder engine that is easy to work on, and make sure the car is stylish, and price it at less than $20,000 new. In this higher interest rate environment, a lot of Americans can't afford to purchase an expensive truck or SUV close to the 6-figure price range. A lot of Americans don't want an EV either. The used car market is a disaster these days. Ford is missing an opportunity to capitalize on the compact car market in the sub-$20,000 price range. Understand, I'm not talking about another Ford Pinto, Ford Escort, or Ford Fiesta. Ford has been in business since 1903. They can reflect on all their past failures and then design and build one of the most reliable and stylish cars in the world and sell it for less than $20,000. They could get some TikTokers to promote it, and before you know it, people would be fighting over them like they are fighting over the Stanley insulated cups at Target. What do you think about this? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. It's not just EV sales that are sinking. I read an article today on Yahoo Finance written by Gabriel Cruz Martinez titled, "Existing Home Sales Sank to Slowest Pace in 30 Years in 2023. According to the author, sales of previously occupied U.S. homes slumped to the worst level in decades last year as elevated rates and rising home prices deadlocked affordability. Year-over-year sales of previously owned homes declined by 6% and came in weaker than expected by economists polled by Bloomberg. Existing home sales fell 1% last month from November to a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 3.7 million, the National Association of Realtors said Friday. That marked the lowest sales activity since August 2010, when 3.68 million sales were recorded. Well, my friends, this hangover is expected after all of the crazy behavior in the real estate market in recent years. Where does this all go from here? It's really anyone's guess. What we have all lived through in the past few years was not normal. I have to wonder if it's 2007 and we are about to watch 2008 unfold before our very eyes again, perhaps on a smaller scale. Listen carefully to what I just stated. I specifically said I have to wonder. I didn't say this is going to happen. No one knows for sure what is going to happen. Who knows what kind of new government program might roll out that will reignite the fire in the housing market. The Fed could slash rates this year, which may impact the 10-year Treasury, and we may see mortgage rates plummet and buyers could come out of the woodwork again. Keep in mind, there are a lot of people right now who have a lot of equity in their homes, unlike back in 2008. Understand that equity can drop. I know people who have told me their Zestimates have been dropping recently on Zillow. Real estate is very local. While values are dropping in some locations, they may still be hot elsewhere. I think sales are going to stay slow until sellers get realistic with their prices, which many don't want to do or can't do. Keep in mind, there are a lot of people who bought near the top of the market and may be buried in their home. There may be a lot of people in a negative equity position. They may want to sell, but can't afford to do so. If rates drop again, we may see more buyers who are willing to pay inflated prices, and some of these sellers may then have an exit opportunity. I personally don't see rates ever dropping to the lows that we once saw. If Trump gets elected president, maybe he will start pushing for negative interest rates again. I found an old article from May 13th, 2020, put out by Reuters titled, "Trump Still Wants Negative Interest Rates, but Says Fed Chair Has Improved." I'll quote Trump from that old article. He said, "I feel strongly we should have negative interest rates." If Trump gets elected, anything is possible. What do you think is going to transpire in the housing market moving forward? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Please keep in mind that everything in this video is for entertainment purposes only, and nothing in this video is financial advice or advice of any kind. If you need advice, seek advice from a qualified professional in good standing who puts your interests first and foremost. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel. Please also consider sharing this video with your friends. I want to extend a special thanks to everyone who has subscribed to this channel. I want to also thank all of my channel members. Check out some of the great books that I suggest you consider reading in the description below. I've included Amazon affiliate links to these books. As an Amazon associate, I earn from qualifying purchases. Stay healthy and wealthy. I'll see everyone in the next video.